Yeah, everybody knows me here as Dr. G, Dr. Greg Pursley. I'm from 2 hours south of St. Louis. I'm part of the AMI Integrated Medical Clinic model. They partnered with Cardone Ventures, done a lot with them, and it's really helped accelerate my personal growth as well as my business's growth.
It's awesome. And so AMI is a partnership with Grant Cardone and I in the chiropractic alternative medicine integrated space, and you're one of the doctors that works with that group.
Yeah, so I was a chiropractor for 14 years and really wanted to accelerate my growth. I kept asking myself a question, and the question was, can I keep doing what I'm doing for the rest of my career? And the answer was resounding no. There's no way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I don't know how to build a business. I don't know how to train my employees. I don't know how to add services. I don't know how to track revenue. I didn't know any of that. I just knew how to adjust people.
Yeah.
And so I had looked and searched for 5 years and finally found AMI. And coincidentally, AMI was partnering with Cardone Ventures, and that's the path that I needed to go on.
So talking about AMI and our partnership at Cardone Ventures, talk about your journey, kind of what's happened with your business since working with both Grant and myself and AMI now.
Sure. Yeah, so that first year I dove deep into Grant's materials, learned a lot about sales. You know, I was just trying to figure out how to put myself into the market and project the message of how I could help people. And so that's what Grant really taught me over that first year. And I also bought John Maxwell's material that year, Jesse Itzler's material, Pete Vargas's material with Advance Your Reach. And I took all those classes very seriously. I was really behind on personal growth, so I did all of that. That year, the business grew some. It improved. And the reason why I say some is because the next year is when I joined AMI at the GrowthCon the next year. And since joining AMI and partnering with you guys,
partnered with AMI. You and I were always in dialogue with each other, and I told you, hey, we've partnered with this AMI group. You should look at them. Then you looked at AMI, and then you started working with AMI, and then you started going into my programs. So we started working together, and what's happened since that?
Well, in essence, I mean, the quick version is our company's grown 6 times. I mean, so
Wow.
we're 6 times bigger than we were in essence. And a really cool stat that I love is our payroll is now greater than what our revenue per month was a year ago. So our revenue per month a year ago, now our payroll is exceeding that, and it just shows you, and our profit margins are better. But it's given me clarity and certainty is what it's really done. And I really want to say thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you have taken your systems and you said, I'm going to take this to people who don't know how to run a business. That was not a skill set, and now it is. So I feel certain I could go into a business and be able to understand it and analyze it better simply because I've taken, all of your courses that you've done at Cardone Ventures. So I really do appreciate the fact that you're doing that for everybody, for a clinic that I felt, I hate to say bad, but I was only doing 300,000 in revenue, and now we're up in the, millions, that's a huge, huge improvement.
Yeah, I mean, just in the last 36 months.
Oh,
you
yeah.
dynamically exploded in your business doing something that you're passionate about, but you were getting burned out with.
I was getting burned out because there was no future. There was no hope for the future. I was already maxed out at what I wanted to do at my capacity, and I didn't know how to grow past where I was. And when you have no hope for the future, every day is just walking through mud. I mean, you're just like, I don't want to go in today because I don't know the next step. But now waking up in the morning is exciting because I know I have the certainty, I have the clarity, I have the vision for that future. And it's, through the programs you've created with Cardone Ventures, it's through the consulting through AMI, going through the platforming process, the 10X 360 process, and then ultimately the SBU process, where you have people that are smarter than you that allow you to maximize what you do best. And what I do best is explaining how we can help more people and growing past where we currently are. I am not an accountant. I don't do that very well.
Yeah.
I'm a visionary. I'm excited to talk about how we can help people and tell stories about that and go talk to groups in order to get them to understand how we can help those people. And through that, I make a bigger impact. I don't need to be sitting behind a desk punching in numbers and typing stuff out. That's not
Or putting
my
your
forte.
marketing strategy together, or putting your people strategy together, or building compensation plans, or
Yeah.
running forecasts and monthly actual P&Ls and all that stuff, all the stuff that you didn't get into business to do.
Right.
But you have to do it when you're in business.
You have to know. I mean, and when you say have to, you have to. In order to effectively run a business, you have to know those things. And I think back to when we first met, I knew so little about business, but my cocky, butt thought
That's the doctor side of you.
I thought I really kind of had a handle. And I'll never forget, you've directed me a few times, but I'll never forget, it was the GrowthCon 4 in Vegas. And I walked up to you, and it was after that year. We'd grown some, and I was like, man, we're kind of maxed out where we're at. I'm thinking about opening another clinic. And before I got those words out of my mouth, you went, no. Don't do that. You're like, look, join a 360. And what a lot of people would think is, he was just trying to sell you. But that's not true. There's an honesty, a respect, a reality here of you have to have the basics in place before you do something silly like expand. And you weren't selling me on that principle. You were saying, look, if you want to expand, which is awesome, you've got to get the basics. And the 360 is the beginning of that. So in January of last year, I did a 360. Or I'm sorry, it was this year. January this year, I did 360. 2 months later, after implementing that, we had already started to grow. We increased, I think, by like 30%.
Yeah,
it was really quick.
I tell people when you go through the 360, you should expect to grow between 25 and 50%.
Yeah. And just going back and implementing the things that you mentioned there, and I only implemented 7 things. We grew by, I don't even remember, but it was 25, 35, 40%, something like that. I mean, it was quick. Enough that 2 months later, I felt confident at the next GrowthCon this year that I'd go ahead and sign up for platforming. So what AMI really does is it teaches you how to develop a business system that implements other treatment options as well as chiropractic care in order to improve the outcome of that patient. That's really what they do. But I'd searched for 5 years for a coaching group that would help me do that. And I met a lot of them, and all of them had the same answer. And that answer was, we're going to make you a lot of money. And I was like, well, I mean, that's great, but there's a bigger purpose than just the money. The money should flow if you're helping more people, right? So actually, I met Mike and Colleen, Dr. Carberry and Colleen at GrowthCon, and I asked him, I said, and it was loud, and so we're trying to do this business talk anyway. But I said, all right, Mike, tell me what this AMI thing's all about, because I was kind of jaded. I just found out about it at that GrowthCon when he
I announced it,
Yeah. And he goes, well, AMI is all about improving the outcome of the patient. And he said, but anything we implement into the treatment or any practice has to improve the patient's outcome. It has to help the patient. It has to be legal and ethical, and then it has to be profitable. And so the fact that he put profitability number 3 led me to go, well, that's interesting. I'm interested in that. That's different than anything I'd ever heard from any other coaching group. And trust me, I looked for them. So I started doing a bunch of research. 2 months later, my limiting factor at that time was financially. How am I going to afford this? They worked with me. They figured it out.
What would you say to all those chiropractors or medical professions or any business owner who's sitting there at whatever level they're at and they have a guaranteed basic, 10x sitting right in front of them if they would just learn the principles of growing and scaling responsibly? What would you say to those business owners based on what you've personally experienced in the last 24 months?
Well, if you're talking about medical professionals, chiropractors, medical professionals, whatever, they all have one thing in common, and that's that they want to help patients. They want to improve the lives of the people around them. Okay. So what that really is how much impact can I make for the people that I treat or serve? Well, if you want to make a bigger impact and help more people, it's a must that it's almost a responsibility to expand and grow. So if you're wanting to help more people, if your goal is to obviously help more people, then it's your responsibility to grow and expand beyond where you're currently at to help more people improve their lives, to live better lives. I mean, the first thing we say is first do no harm. Well, I mean, if you're not doing harm, that means you're helping people. And if you limit how many people you're helping by, well, I got to where I'm comfortable, well, that's being selfish. You're being selfish with your gift that you've been given. And there's a greater opportunity to expand past where you're at. And if there is that opportunity, which I guarantee you there is, I believe it's your responsibility to do that.